Hey guys, Preston Bell Comic Book University, and today we're going to talk about the Thanos quest. That's right. Now, there are a couple issues that we have to discuss before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of the Thanos quest. Thanos quest is only two parts, all right? It's actually only two comic book issues. It's the story that came right before the Infinity Gauntlet, for the most part, all right? That's the one where Thanos has all the entire gauntlet combined in the Infinity Gauntlet. But how did he get all those? That was in the Thanos quest. But Thanos was dead. So how did he come back alive? Well, that was in a couple issues of the Silver Surfer. All right. How did Thanos die? Okay. Even if I explained that, you got to read the comics for that one. That was a weird one. He just killed Adam Warlock, and then Adam Warlock killed him. And it involved Master Order and Lord Chaos manipulating Spider-Man. Yeah. See? It's messed up. Anyway, he got turned into stone, and he was a little bit alive still. I'm talking about Thanos here, and it was kind of a really messed up, sad story. This is right around the the middle to end of the Adam Warlock series, the first one. Thanos was actually prevented from death's door. He was turned into a living statue where he couldn't move at all. He non-animated. It was like, those posable figures when you were a kid. Oh, it's posable, which means that you can't pose it. It's stuck in that pose. So it's not posable. It's a pose. I hated that. I hate nasty manipulation of marketing. Anyway, so yeah, he was stuck in a posable form. So he was forever barred from death's door. And since he always worshipped death, he had no chance of actually being with her. So now, here's what happens. We're going to go back to February, all right? February of 1990. And this is the third volume of Norrin Radd's Silver Surfer comic book. He had his original run. Then he had, I think it was only like a 2-issue run for the second volume. And then it was meant to be that way, believe it or not. And then there was this run. And this is considered the best of all the runs. This is where we get to meet all of the, all the elders of the universe and a couple extra ones. And just, goes crazy. And go and check out all of my explained in a minutes for the 5 basic elders of the universe. Really good stuff. Some of them were obviously introduced before the Silver Surfer run, but some of them, no, it was right here. Okay, so we're going to start off with Silver Surfer issue number 34 through 38. All right, these are important. Some of them will go by a lot faster than others. We start off in issue number 34. The Silver Surfer is flying around, he's chilling, and he finally gets a chance to rest after a ridiculous, hellacious battle that he just went through. And he said, he's like, I haven't actually had a time to sleep in over a year now. Maybe it was many years, all right? And that says a lot about his constitution, man. Forget about it. So he decides to sit down, lay down, and take an actual nap. Now, he wakes up, and he realizes that he is in the Hall of Death. That's right. This huge skull mountain opens up and he goes into it. And he's like, what the hell is all this stuff? And he sees these 2 guys walking and they're carrying this casket. They're like, what's in the box? Literally, like, what's in the box? What's in the box? That's that movie, Seven. Anyway, so he is wondering what's in the frickin' box. Is it the casket of ancient winters? No, it's not a Thor story. So, by the way, I should mention that Jim Starlin and Ron Lim wrote and drew, respectively, all of these Silver Surfer issues and the Thanos quest. That's kind of important. Okay, so it turns out that Thanos' soul is actually in the box. It was kept by Mistress Death. This is the Hall of Death. This is her hall. And then Silver Surfer actually realized that he's in a dream. She's like, oh, crap, wow. To sleep, perchance to dream. Crap, not to nightmare. Anyway, so the cask gets opened and Thanos comes out and he's like, what the frick? Holy crap. What's going on here? And then he goes to leave and then he's attacked by souls and he's like, oh crap, it's like The Walking Dead, except, and long before that came out. Ron Kirk has nothing to do with this. So he starts flying out and he sees a mother standing on top of a volcano about to throw her baby in. And he flies down to rescue the baby and all sorts of really crazy, wild things start happening to this cat. All right? Suddenly he wakes up and he realizes that it was all just a dream. Oh, wow, this is all messed up. And then there's Thanos. Thanos, whatever. I say Thanos. He's sitting in front of him. Sitting, because he's on that gigantic, awesome sky throne, all right? That floating throne thing that he does that can fire laser beams and stuff. That thing's awesome. Anyway, and it's way cooler looking in the comics than it is in the movies. So, he's sitting there and he's like, yo, dude, what's going on? Anyways, he's gotten this perception that only he can stop Thanos. Okay? He's gotten that because that's what these guys that were carrying his casket, Thanos' casket around, all right? Mistress Death is there, and they're just like, the Silver Surfer. He's the only one who could stop it. That's when, all the crazy things start happening. So he's like, okay, I'm the only one who can stop this Thanos guy. Huh. Why don't I just stop him? So, anyway, all sorts of really weird, crazy things start happening. So he's like, listen, Thanos is like, listen, I want to hang out with you. I want to take you someplace, okay? And I want to show you some things. He's like, okay, but no tricks. He's like, tricks? Me? No, I don't need to do any tricks to you. She's like, come on, step on my teleporting, dimensional traveling sky sled thing, all right? So Surfer does step on, and he doesn't take his board with him. That was dumb. So there's the teleporting. He teleports him away. She's like, oh, my board, you did trick me. Whoa, and he unloads on him. And it's like, dude, you know how powerful the Silver Surfer is, right? Okay. So when the smoke clears, Thanos is just sitting there. He's like, are you done yet? And literally, that's what he says. Are you done yet? And Surfer, I swear to God, he says back to him, yes? That's like you ever get into a fight with the biggest kid in school or just whatever, and you throw the best punch you got, bam! And he just kind of goes, "Pooh, huh?" Long before you learn that you can't just try and one-shot people, you got to keep hitting. Nobody goes down with the first shot. I mean, almost nobody. Real punk if you do. Anyway, so, yes, he tries to one-shot him, doesn't work, and he's like, holy crap, that should have done something to him. He didn't even flinch. So Thanos is like, okay, listen, man, check this out. And he takes the Silver Surfer to Tokyo, Japan, on Earth. And he's like, look at this, man. Look at this planet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, granted, this area right here is a lot more overpopulated than, most of the rest of this planet. But you know that more than half of the people who were born are still alive today? Yeah, like, people aren't dying anymore. You know what I'm saying? People are living a really long time. There's a serious overpopulation problem here. I'm just saying. He's trying to sell his case to him, It's like, yeah, but, I mean, come on. They'll figure it out on their own. They'll figure out something to do, birth control, contraception, something, So he's like, yeah, maybe. Let me show you something else. So he goes to this other planet called Solaria. Yeah, I need to read that one. So he's like, come and check this out. So he says, listen, look at these people. Exact same problem, all right? Right now, they're on the cusp of overpopulation, all right? They're going to start cannibalizing each other and because they're destroying all their natural resources and overpopulation. They can't produce enough food and it's really bad, man. The planet can't support them anymore. So it's really bad. So it's like, well, listen, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to give him a chance to figure this stuff out for himself. He's like, well, actually, Thanos says, I already figured out the answer to their problem. You see, I brought you to Earth so that you would gather some bacteria on you. And now that you're here, you've just spread that bacteria. So by the time that we went from there to where we are now, this little conversation, half the population of the planet's already dead. Yeah, and that's going to help them out a lot. Now, here's the question. Are you going to stop me from going and doing what I've got to do? Or are you going to go and rescue that planet and all those people on it, all those Solarians on it? Silver Surfer just kind of gives him a look like, well, the fat head, this ain't over. Thanos is like, whatever. So, yeah, there we go. That was Surfer's chance to stop Thanos. But he didn't. He went to save the people. He wouldn't be the Silver Surfer if he didn't, right? Technically. So, kind of cool. I'm digging it. Okay, so Surfer, anyways, he goes and he's able to create the antibodies necessary to stop the infestation for these people. And he does wind up saving at least, well, close to half the planet, whatever. He stops a lot of them because then they naturally pass it on to each other. So Thanos is gone by now. Surfer can't find him. And at the end of this issue, actually by issue 35, Kronos, appears. Kronos is at this point basically the god of Titan. And Kronos, like the god of time, right? So he resurrects Drax. All right, Drax the Destroyer. Now, yeah, he's still in his big purple cape with his green skin and just looks really silly, but he's got like the gigantic muscles and all that stuff. And he's got all the superpowers that he's had for the longest time. If you guys only got turned on to Drax around the time of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie or the second one, whatever, Drax had already changed by about that time. Actually, that movie changed Drax. So in the comics, they're like, we got to catch up. And they made him more like Dave Bautista in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies by James Gunn. However, he was always just this big guy who looked just like the Hulk. Without his cape, you would really confuse him for the Hulk. He was red and green. He was all green, but he had purple clothes on. And yeah, at one point he even had purple underwear. Oh my God, his legs were showing. It was just horrible. Anyway, so he was actually created. The story of Drax, I'm going to do an explained in a minute on that one day, but just not today. All right. So basically, Drax's purpose in life is to kill Thanos. All right. And he's dumber than a rock, but he's supposed to kill Thanos. And he succeeded. He succeeded quite a few times. So now he gets resurrected. And it's like, oh, wow. So the solicit for the next issue, for issue number 36, is he's green, purple, and hard to deal with. So when we get to issue number 36, it turns out that the author, Jim Starlin, was not actually talking about Drax. He was talking about the Impossible Man. The Impossible Man decided to show up and give a little bit of help to Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer. Now, what does the Impossible Man do? I'm going to have to explain that in a minute, too. It might be 2 minutes to explain this guy. But anyway, he comes from the planet Pop-Up. And he is the Impossible Man because he can do pretty much anything. He first appeared in the very early issues of the Fantastic Four, and he's just a jackass. He's supposed to be like Marvel's version of Mr. Mitya Spitlick, except he's not nearly as evil. Like, he's actually not even that evil. I would have to say that one of the coolest stories about him, this might be a spotlight story that I'll do in the future, is that he actually, in order to help his friends on Earth, like Reed Richards, Fantastic Four, and all them, who he'd grown to love dearly, he actually sacrificed his own planet of Pop-Up to Galactus to be instead of Earth. That's kind of cool. Come on. That's kind of cool, right? So anyway, he shows up and he's like, listen, you're going to have a problem in the future and you're going to want to deal with it in your own way. But my recommendation is to be silly. And the whole entire issue was just that. So boom, we just got finished with issue number 36. So, yeah, because the Silver Surfer actually goes to Avengers Tower for more info on who Thanos actually is, because the Avengers had to fight him. So he learns of his and he learns about his father, Mentor. Thanos' mentor. Thanos' father is named Mentor. So Surfer tries to track Thanos, but he can't. He just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the ability to do this. All the different energy signatures that he's trying to read, he can't lock up on anything. He can't figure out what the heck is going on. So he goes to Mentor, and he gets the origin and history of Thanos. Very cool. You can also have the origin and history of Thanos by checking out Comic Book University, Thanos Explained in a Minute. Okay, so basically when he was 10 years old, he killed his mother. That was like the big thing. And then at 18 years old, he killed and tortured a girl for a week, trying to recreate what he did to his mother. And then later on, he fled to the Outer Rim because his people were going to freaking kill him. And he perfected his powers, his already great powers, in a very, very inhospitable area with pirates and everything like that. And he not only succeeded there, but he exceeded. And he wound up getting an entire crew for a ship, the Sanctuary 2. So Mentor basically says, yeah, he's my son, and I would like you to kill him. So at this point, Drax shows up, and he's strong as hell. And everything that the Surfer does, like, it's actually some really cool part. He actually thinks he's gotten rid of Drax, and all of a sudden you see a hand on the front of the board just come up. He's like holding onto the bottom of the board. He starts pulling himself up, and Surfer's like, dude, what the frig? So, yeah. Anyway, he basically just takes him down to Earth. He goes back to Earth with him and says, and Drax is actually originally from Earth. Bet you didn't know that. Unless you did. Anyway, and he talks to the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, and he's like, hey, listen, bud, where's that room with the information box? That's in this room, right? He's like, well, the only thing in there is, yes, thank you very much. And he brings him in, he sits down, and he's watching some TV with Drax. And Drax gets so elated, so, like, convinced by the boob tube, the idiot box, the TV, that he's just like, and Surfer is able to just get up and handily walk out. And Drax can't find him now. So that was the advice that he took from Mr. Mitzi from Mr. Impossible, the Impossible Man. There we go. That's the advice that he took from him. That's what he realized. That's what he has to do. He has to be silly and really think outside the box to handle the problem that he's going to have in front of him so that, and I don't see why he didn't just bring him with him and just explain, listen, I'm going to try and find Thanos too. And if you want to help me kill him, I will help you kill him. All right? Why not? Instead of wasting all that time. Anyway, so by issue number 38, Nebula, his granddaughter. Oh, yeah. It was actually supposed to be his daughter. All that good stuff. So she shows up and she's actually on Thanos' old ship. And so Geeter is her bodyguard. And Thanos just drops that dude in a heart. He's like, poof. He just like hockey checks him without moving. So he's saying like, listen, Nebula, you're not my granddaughter. I would remember, doing stuff. And I've only got one love, and she don't procreate. She don't recreate, okay? There's no life coming from her. And no, so you are not my daughter. You're not my granddaughter. You're a liar. So he sets her on fire. She runs, and she, nobody ever taught this girl to stop, drop, and roll. You remember those commercials, right? Anyway, so she's running down the hallway, igniting even more. One dude goes after her and actually is able to put her out and says, oh my God, you're still alive. Let's see what we could do to help you. And he basically, shuttles her away in a part of a remote part of the ship that nobody goes to. So she's going to come back later on, specifically in the Infinity Wars. The Infinity Gauntlet story. She's going to come back, and she's going to be a really big part there. So Thanos at this point is summoned by Mistress Death. And this is going to be a common theme, where she keeps on saying, like, I wanted you to be a one-man wrecking crew. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's going on right now? I wanted you to go right. You originally said when you found all those soul gems in the past that that you were going to wipe out each star one at a time and wipe out half the stars in the entire universe for me in my honor. You're going to cause all this death and destruction. Well, now I'm allowing you to honor that contract, and you're not doing it. And he's like, okay, my lady, I got this. I'm going to take care of this, okay? Just trust me, please. Trust me. So she's like, okay, but you promised to kill half of all the life in the universe for me. So get on it. And she really underestimated him a lot. He was just supposed to be, as I said, a one-man wrecking crew, just going around and just, oh, hi, there's two of you here. Which one of you wants to get it? Boom! You know what I'm saying? And maybe he's going to wind up being stopped by the Avengers or somebody else at some point, the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. Who knows? But anyway, so, and she actually enhanced him on top of that. She enhanced his powers so that he could do this. So she's putting a little some effort into this. So she does want him to succeed. But he is expendable. So, the Surfer is asking for random aliens if they've seen Thanos. Yeah, that's how bad he's actually gotten. That's how bad it is. He's literally walking up. Excuse me, have you seen this man? He's not actually doing that, but he's saying, like, this is guy Thanos. You know him, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm the only person in the universe who's never heard of him. Where can I find him? You don't know? Okay, who would? Ah, damn it. Just no leads. So Thanos actually appears to him as a projection, like poof, in front of him. And saying, listen, you need to go to Paraxian. That's not, particularly important. But he goes there, he gets into a fight, Surfer's blasted, Thanos teleports, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. The Surfer actually gets to an area where he can track the space throne. All right? I think he was actually looking for microwave emissions. I forget exactly what it was. But anyway, he finally, realizes, okay, I should be tracking the space throne, not him directly. So he actually finds Thanos. Now, mind you, he was just in this huge battle with these people because they don't know if he's actually there to hurt them. They like, Thanos is here? What are you talking about? No, he's not. You're here. So like there's this big fight and he's just all sorts of nuts everywhere. So Surfer starts tracking the space throne, flying down at super light speed, sees Thanos all the way at the end by the space throne. And he's like, I found you. And Thanos like, what? Oh no, wait, no. And Surfer doesn't care. Just wham! Just unloads on him. Blows him up. Kills Thanos. I know. Seems kind of counterproductive, right? Yeah. Well, it turns out that's not actually the case. You guys remember Geeter? Yeah, Geeter. Lady Nebula's first in command. He was a big guy. And he looked enough like Thanos that Thanos could paint him up and give him his actual space throne and all that stuff. He could always make a new one, no big deal. And so Silver Surfer at this point now thinks that he just killed Thanos. And he's like, I hate killing. But when you name yourself Thanos, what are you going to do? So anyway, he takes the casket to Mentor. And anyway, the little casket with the ashes. He's like, here you go. Here's your son. And Mentor's like, yeah, no. So anyway, the Surfer at this point is now off of Thanos' back. Okay, so that's the end of that. So now we get into the Thanos quest actual. Again, only 2 parts, also done by, penciled by Ron Lim and written by Jim Starlin. Mind you, Jim Starlin is the creator of Thanos. Not to disrespect anybody else, but if you want a good Thanos story, make sure that Jim Starlin actually wrote it. There'll be other good stories, whatever, but a really good Thanos story, just take my advice on that. Give it the Pepsi challenge. You won't be disappointed. Okay, so Thanos, he's staring into the Infinity Well in the beginning of this comic. I like how these things are just, there's an Infinity Well. Mistress Death, this is her palace, and she's got this thing called the Infinity Well that she stares into and she can see things. Well, mind you, 2 of the most powerful beings in the universe are Eternity and Mistress Death. So she's uber powerful, but this Infinity Well has a mind of its own, in a sense. Now, what happens is Thanos is staring into this thing for just a really long time. And he's trying to figure out the secrets of the universe and all these other crazy things, all right? Because Thanos he's extremely powerful, okay, can never be denied. Extremely powerful, but he's also very devious. And he's very smart. And he really knows his place. Now, that's not to mean that he allows himself to be subjugated. Absolutely not. What he means is he knows his purpose in life. Even when he wants to do good, he chooses to do bad because he knows that's what he was actually meant for. All right? To give you an idea of why he killed his mother, because he wanted to see how something so evil could come from something so good. That's Thanos. All right? That's a detailed character that's just really got issues. Anyway, so Death in court, and mind you, when Death is talking, Death talks through her minions. She's got these 2 minions with her the whole time, you know what I'm saying? And she communicates to them, and they then out loud ask the questions to Thanos. So that's how she's always talking, but just understand. So when I say that, she says to him, this is how she communicates to Thanos. Anyway, she's, what's going on? You were supposed to kill half the universe for me. What's going on? It's like, literally, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are you there yet? Did you kill half the universe yet? Are we there yet? So just nagging, dude, nagging. She's already a ball and chain. They're not even married yet. That was mean. Sorry. So, Thanos says, centuries. He says centuries without a plan. Basically, it will take centuries for him to, this is This is them. He's all like, "Rrr," and she's all like, "Hey, baby." So I wish I could actually set them up so they'd stay in focus, but no. So he says, doing it your way would take centuries, okay? Without a plan, and just flying around on my space throne and just zap, 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 zapping things. You know what I'm saying? It would take centuries to pull that off. So, no, he's not interested in doing something like that. He's not a meat puppet. That's not what he's going to do. So, at one point, they even mention, I could have saved it for now, but it says, the boost to your energy, to your powers that Mistress Death gave you, that's not enough for you. So he's got to show how grateful he is. But on top of that, he also trusts Mistress Death. He actually does love her. So he gives in his plan. He's like, listen, you remember those 6 soul gems? I'm going to find those soul gems. They're like, listen, you used those soul gems before. Didn't work. It didn't work. You remember? He's like, yeah, here's the thing. I didn't know their true power. Nobody actually knew their true power. Nobody. And the true power of the soul gems, okay, today they're called the Infinity Gems. And it was Thanos who actually gave them that name. They were always called the soul gems, and he's like, yeah, there's only one of them that should actually be called the soul gem, and that's Adam Warlock's, because that one controls the soul. That's the soul gem. But the other 5 gems will control like mind, space, time, reality, and things like that. Excuse me. So he's like, only one of them should be called the soul gem, but all of them should be called the Infinity Gems, Infinity Stones in the MCU. Whatever. So these gems were actually all a part of this one primordial god that existed. Apparently more powerful than the living tribunal, more powerful than even the one above all. All right, supposedly, as powerful as, let's say, the Never Queen. As powerful as, that's the thing. Like, we can always guess, but we don't know. But this one being that was so powerful and alone, and then just split itself up into these 6 gems to just be scattered around. And they can always find each other, but the gems can always find each other because they want to be reunited, but they'll be reunited under somebody's power. And I believe that the Gauntlet itself was actually tempered, I guess. It was treated. That's a better word. It was treated so that as long as the gems are together on the Gauntlet, then preferably the being won't be able to come to sentience again. The power will just be there. It's kind of like taking the cosmic cube and keeping the sentience out of it, like Kobik or Cubic, who came before. Keeping the sentience out of it so you could still use the cosmic cube to its full potential, but you don't have the sentience of the cube turning around and saying, yeah, no, I don't want to let you do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how that works. So, she says, like, you tried this before, but he's like, yeah, no. Basically, we were using it as a hammer when it's supposed to be a surgical tool. So, like I said, he's smart. On top of that, he also asked for permission to do this. He says, by your leave, I want to regather these gems, and I want to put them to a better use. And she gives her leave to do this. She says, okay, fine, not a problem. So, he adds that the in-betweener will suffer for this. That's what puts it over the edge. Okay, the in-betweener. Okay, earlier in the essentially the beginning storyline for Volume 3 of the Silver Surfer, which we just kind of read some of them, 34 through 38. The Elders of the Universe had a plan and they all regathered these soul gems after Thanos had lost them, after he was turned to stone. They all individually gathered them and started using them for their own ability, and they decided they were going to try and kill Galactus so that the in-betweener could take over. And this was just supposed to be a whatever thing. It was all a part of their plan. The Grandmaster actually was supposed to had done this deal with Death, with Mistress Death herself, so that the Elders of the Universe can't die, no matter what, that they're incapable of dying. It was kind of a trick, but it was a promise, and she kept to her promise. Except the in-betweener has a power over Death in this. Yeah, I know. A power over death that he's able to say, listen, break your deal. And I want these. I think he just killed like 3 of them right there. Killed these 3 elders of the universe. Even though you promised that you would never let them die, I'm ordering you to kill them. And she did. But she hated him for it. She's like, I will not forget the slight. Well, here it is. She didn't forget the slight. So she's thinking, should I let Thanos go and do all these things? And as soon as he said, the in-betweener will be made to suffer, she's like, oh yeah, go. Do what you gotta do. Oh, man. Hell has no fury than Lady Death scorned. Okay, so he travels through a myriad of dimensions that most couldn't maintain substance. But Thanos is unique and can hold true to himself. I actually had to read that verbatim. That's important. I worded that exactly the way that I wanted to word it. And a lot of it has to do with what was actually written in there. When you go and look at Thanos Explained in a Minute on Comic Book University, you will see that Thanos and Adam Warlock are 2 very unique beings. Adam Warlock Explained in a Minute is also there. They are both very unique beings in so much that they don't have a destiny that can be monitored by the higher powers. So eternity, death, order, chaos, infinity, all these different beings, they cannot, they can see them, obviously, if they're in front of them. But if they're away, they can track them, they could spy on them, but they can never just say, I know what these guys are going to do because I could see their threads of destiny. No, their threads of destiny have nothing to do with the ties that exist in this universe, in this multiverse. So there's no way to know what these guys are going to do next except to constantly spy on them. You can't constantly spy on them, especially when you're as tricky as these guys. So with that being the case, and with Thanos' extreme sense of will, all these different reality warping things are happening to him that most intelligent creatures would lose their mind, lose their sense of self. But Thanos always, as I said earlier, stays true to himself. So this didn't affect him. Well, it did, but he was able to maintain his self. So when they entered into this universe, into this pocket dimension that the In-Betweener is being kept prisoner in, boom, not a problem. The In-Betweener is actually being kept prison. Also related to that story, Master Order and Lord Chaos were informed of what the In-Betweener was actually doing. Yeah, he was punished. So he was allowed to keep his powers, and he has great, amazing powers, but he's able to keep his powers, but he's inside this bubble that he can't escape from. He's not powerful enough to escape from this bubble. So Thanos comes down and he says, listen, here's the deal. I'm working with Mistress Death right now. I don't want to work with Mistress Death, okay? I want to work with you. I know how much you don't like her very much for, her part and all this stuff. So listen, I want to work with you. Help me out. So In-Betweener's in this bubble thinking, this guy's a real butthead, all right? And he's not loyal. And so how do I know he's going to be loyal to me? Yeah, no. I'm going to let him help me out, and then I'm going to just kill him. So that's what he does. He's like, okay, fine, let's do it. So they both start using their powers, and it's just enough that they're able to pop the bubble. It's like, cool, hey, word, you saved me. All right, good job, man. Now prepare to die. Zoop. Hey, what's going on? His powers don't work. They only worked inside the bubble. They don't work in this dimension shift that was created by Master Order and Lord Chaos. Plus, they were also immediately alerted to the idea that, hey, guess what? Boom. You just escaped, and they know this. So it was like, oh, well, I'm going to tell on you then. Yeah, I'm going to tell Mommy and Daddy. Well, Thanos is like, yeah, here's the deal. You know the thing that I just got to finish explaining to you? Like, Professor Bill just got to finish explaining to you about how his threads of destiny, he can't be tracked like that? Yeah, I meant it. They have no idea that he's there. So by the time they show up, Thanos is already gone. And dude sitting there in between is like, Thanos was just here. Yeah, we don't see that. Zap! And they're punishing him and torturing him, and yeah. And the only reason why he wanted to go and get the In-Betweener is because he has a gem on his forehead. So he's able to grab that. Now, I want to express something that's actually, and I know it's in my notes, but to me, this was just one of the most brilliant parts of this comic. All right? Every time that he grabs, almost every time, but pretty much every time that he grabs one of these gems, you see it in first person from the other person's point of view. So you're seeing through the in-betweener's eyes, or maybe you're seeing from the gem's point of view, because the gems are always placed on the forehead. So that's what you're seeing every single time. And to me, that's a really beautiful concept, that you're seeing Thanos acquiring each one of these gems as he defeats the person. Yeah, that's pretty sick. All right, so after this, let's see, where did I get to? Oh, the area was also called the Nexus of All Realities. Sorry, that's what I get for not actually reading the detailed notes that I took. So anyway, and that in itself was actually the Soul Gem. That was the gem that Adam Warlock had previously worn. It's the one, go figure, that's the one that Thanos didn't want to even mess with. He didn't even want to touch it. Because like this, Adam Warlock's gem steals souls, and I'm afraid of losing my own soul. So I'll capture the other 5. I'll use those 5 to capture this, and I'll put them all in this artificial gem that I'll take. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a really convoluted story. Anyway, this is the first one that he goes for, and just yoink. So as he leaves, Mistress Death shows up. It's like, yeah, I heard the things that you were saying. What's going on? And Thanos bites his lip and explains. So literally, you actually see Thanos sitting there going, Mistress Death, here's the deal. Like, did you actually believe that, those things? I only said that to get him to trust me so I can get what I wanted. But look, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. And look, here's the gem. And I'm going to go get the other gems. I told you, please, you have to trust me. You have to trust me. Like I said, this is a recurring theme. She does not trust him. She doesn't trust him. She probably shouldn't have. It's not even that. She could have trusted him, no problem. He was never going to betray her. She just didn't like what was going to happen. We'll get to that. We got 5 more people to, some of them kill. Some of them kill. Anyway, but he also says that he knows that Death will not approve of playing such a grand game. So he is keeping a little bit of this to himself, but that's the thing. He's being honest. There's just a little bit that he's being dishonest through means of omission. All right. But at this point now, he goes to the planet Tamarata with 5 different warring federations. It sounds kind of like The Hobbit, the War of 5 Armies, right? A little Tolkien inspiration. So there he is with the champion of the universe. Yeah, by the way, Trico Slatterus is his real name. Check it out. Comic Book University, explained in a minute, champion of the universe. Yeah. And in the description below all of them, you will see links to all the other ones. So you want to know more about Champion? Check it out there. So, yeah, he's from the Elders of the Universe, all that good stuff. And he keeps on fighting different different factions of these armies under the guise of working for another. Now, what this is to say is that there are 5 different factions of these people here. Okay, so 5 different countries, I guess you could say. So he'll go to one of the countries in a disguise and be like, yeah, I'm here to fight you on behalf of this, faction over here. And then he'll go to that one and be like, oh yeah, these guys over here, they sent me to kill you guys. So and he would keep on making them fight him over and over again. And he's just testing his skills. That's what he does. That's what he does. And you can actually go and check out a spotlight on story for the Contest of Champions. It was not the Contest of Champions. I plan on doing that in the future. But, it's a Marvel 2-in-1 annual number 7 or 9. I think it's annual number 9. Maybe it's 7. Anyway. And that's the one. It's basically like a Contest of Champions before there actually was. And, yeah, you get to see him fighting all these different strongmen like the Hulk, Thor, the Thing, Sasquatch, a whole bunch of these guys. So go check that out. But finish this one first. Okay, so he thinks that the stone is just there as a good luck charm. He's got the power gem on his head. Now, we know this is actually giving him power above. Now, without the gem, he's easily in the weight class of the Hulk. Easily. No joke. All right? It's assumed that he had the power gem back in that Marvel 2-in-1, but you never actually see the time gem or the power gem. So maybe not. he really is just that powerful. Even though sometimes you'll see that it doesn't look like he actually is. He really is that powerful. He's a beast. But anyway, so he's sitting there and he's fighting for the ownership of... He's sitting there fighting all these guys, and he uses this gem just as a good luck charm. So Thanos says, listen, let's have a battle with each other because I want to own this planet. This is your planet now, right? No, I want this planet. I want this as a base of operations, whatever. So let's fight each other. Whoever wins gets to keep the planet. Trico's like, okay. So he just comes up and starts hitting him, and Thanos just puts up a shield. You know what I'm saying? At some point, he's like blasting him, and he's messing with him, and he's doing all these different things. He'll like blast him, and Trico, the champion of the universe, is walking forward and getting forward. And just when he gets close, Thanos just pulls that old rope-a-dope thing, and he lets go of the beam and moves to the side. So Trico's like, whoa, and falls over, and he's just like, man, you look like a punk. Look at you. You're all dirty, mud in your face and your eye. Come on, weakling. So he's just getting amped up. He's getting wildin'. So turns around and he just starts bow, 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 pounding at him, but he puts up a shield. And he's like, dude, if this guy keeps on pounding, my shield can't hold. I need this guy to do what I expect him to do. And what he expects him to do is the same thing that all strong men always eventually do. The really big powerhouses like the Hulk, the Thing, all of them, they're like, okay, I'm going to give you this one last super duper powerful blast. I'm going to jump up in the air, roar, Trico smash. And as he does that, that's when Thanos gets him. He ducks to the side. Trico winds up, boom, blasting into the planet itself, destroys the planet. The whole planet is gone. Thanos is like, yeah, this sucks. Anyway, the whole planet's gone, so there's nothing left to fight for. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of leave you out here. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. No. Let's battle. Are you all right? We'll battle again, and whoever wins gets your sky sled. And Thanos is like, yeah, no. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to destroy it. He's like, you could, but I'm just going to teleport away. You can't catch me. Anyway, I'm just going to leave you here. Unless I will give you a ride to a neighboring planet if you give me that little trinket on your head. He's like, what? My good luck charm? No way. So, some ship will come by and see me eventually. You know what I'm saying? I'm immortal, so it doesn't matter. Thanos is like, yeah, sure, but you are such a douchebag that I get the feeling that most people see you will recognize you, be like, yeah, no, I don't like him, and they're going to keep on flying away. Trico's thinking about it. It's like, yeah, those words ring true. Okay, fine. Here, the stupid thing never worked for me anyway. Dummy. So Thanos grabs it. He's now got 2 gems, 2 of the Infinity Gems. And he's like, okay, come along. And he tractor beams him, whatever, and drops him off on this planet. By drop him off, I mean he's still up in space and throws him. He's like, yeah, I think he'll survive that, but still. So he like cannonballs through the atmosphere of the planet and all that stuff. Not good. Not good. So anyway, that's that. And now he's got these 2 gems. And it's at this point that he's like, yeah, these things shouldn't be called Infinity Gems, or, Soul Gems. Only this one. So I'm going to call these the Infinity Gems. And boom, from that point on. And you'll see that he actually corrects the other elders when all the other elders have the rest of the gems at this point. So he's like, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, if you want my soul gems, like Infinity Gems. Like, okay, fine, whatever. So he's the one who actually really pushes it to home. So he's got one more guy to fight in this first of 2 parts of the Thanos quest, and that is the Gardener. All right? So he goes up to the Gardener, and he's like, yeah, check it out. I need your stuff. And he's like, listen, I admire your garden. I admire what you do. You are freaking awesome, okay? I'm not hostile here. I don't want to fight you. I really just want your gem. Anybody else, I'm going to kick their butt. You, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, okay? Please just give me your gem. He's like, yeah, no. So, let's have a battle. So, Gardner's really cool guy. He's like, you sit down on that bench, I'll sit down on this bench, let's have a battle. So he uses his gem to make his, the vines of all of his plants go and attack Thanos. And Thanos actually gets, completely wrapped up in these things. He can't breathe, he can barely move or anything. And at one point, he's just like, ugh, and he pops out, he rips out. He's like, yeah, sorry I had to kill you. All right. Does he actually kill him? Not really, because he is technically immortal. So he's just in a really bad spot right now. What he did was he caused the the gardener actually has the time gem, and you can check out Gardener Explained in a minute. He has the time gem. What he was able to do to make his plants perfect is he would rush their growth to get to the zenith of their beauty and then halt time around them. So they always stay at perfect bloom, at perfect maturity, perfect beauty. So that's the secret of his garden. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? With the time gem, of course, silly. So anyway, the way that Thanos beat him was he wound up augmenting the power of the time gem with his power gem, because that's, amongst other things, that's the main purpose of the power gem, is to augment the power of all the other gems. Cool, right? So, boom. It goes out of control, so while he's wrapping Thanos up, he himself gets wrapped up, and the plants actually, and the vines start actually going into his body, out of his eyes, out of his mouth, and everything, and just rip him apart all over the place. So you actually get to see Thanos come up and take the gem from his forehead also. Yeah, kind of cool. So now he's got the soul, the power, and the time gems. This is pretty much enough to beat anybody, but it's how he does it. And that's the end of this particular issue. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get to the next one after I take this quick water break. I haven't been feeling good. Okay, when last we left off, shut up, we're just there. He goes to the collector. The collector is checking, is waiting for a phone call. And he picks up, he's like, Thanos of Titan here. That's pretty much what he says. He's been watching, the collector has been watching the activities of Thanos ever since he went after the champion. What do you call it? So Thanos wants to trade for his gem. He's like, listen, I know you like this gem. I know you like to collect things, and you've collected this gem also, okay? But I want it, okay? And I'm willing to trade you something, and this is what's going to happen. I'm going to trade you something for that gem, and then we're going to be cool, okay? I'm going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. Not that you won't, just whatever, okay? No violence, just I promise you, you're going to love this. So collector's like, okay, let's find out. So Thanos goes away and he waits and he waits and he waits and he's nervous. Like, dude's practically biting his nails through his gloves. You can actually visibly see he is nervous as hell. He's like, okay, this is good enough. This is long enough. If he was going to attack me, then he'd have done it now. All right? He's actually afraid that he was going to go and figure out how his time gem, or how his infinity gem worked, and then come back and mess with him. The collector actually had one of the most powerful of them all. They're all powerful, but he had the reality gem. So if he would have figured out how to make that thing work, Thanos would have been toast. All right? But he knows that the collector doesn't have that kind of a mind. He's more analytical, and he's not creative enough to figure out the reality warping abilities of this soul gem, this infinity gem. So he finally realizes that he's going to be okay, and then he moves along. So, because he also says specifically, he's weak in the field of metaphysics. So, moving on, he goes after the runner. More specifically, the runner comes after him, but he goes to the area where he knows that he's going to be. So, go and check out the runner explained in a minute. That very first thing that I actually have my voice on speed dial, and then I reverse it, and then I still put it faster. That's actually, my voice. And he says, I'm faster than fast. What does he say? Faster than fast, quicker than thought. I'm the speediest damn thing alive. He says something to that effect. Anyway, I make sure I put closed captions on pretty much all of my explained in a minutes. So I actually take great pains and details to make sure that it's word for word verbatim on there. So anybody who's hearing impaired, or if you just can't understand something I say, turn on your closed captions. I manually put those in. Check it out. So, anyway, he beats the crap out of Thanos, in so much that he trashes the space throne and demands to know what Thanos is going to do with these gems. Like, what do you want? Because the Grandmaster who's basically the smartest of all of the Eternals. The Eternals. I can't believe I just said that. The Elders of the Universe. He's like, dude, here's what's happening. I'm following this guy, and he's doing all these crazy things. So, check 6. All right, go figure out what he wants and kill him if you have to. So, and the runner's tough, man. The runner's tough. He took out the Silver Surfer. He took him down. So. Thanos tells him that it was essentially a sentient being. And if you guys have been, it doesn't say it in here, but if you guys have been reading the Ultimates 2, Volume 2, it might be the first firmament. Who knows? Maybe it's something more powerful than that, but I think it's the first firmament. That's just my guess. Anyway, so pure chance that Thanos saw this in the Infinity Well. It's the funniest thing in the world. It's pure, he actually admits it. It's by pure chance that I happen to have seen this and noticed it. Because Mistress Death missed it, for crying out loud, So he uses the time gem specifically. He's got all 3 of these gems, but the runner has the space gem. And he's like, listen, man, I'm fast. I've always been fast. That's my thing. I'm fast. I'm faster than everybody. But with this gem, I'm able to move so fast that sometimes I'm where I want to be before I even realize that I thought about it. Well, Thanos knows that this is just called teleportation, because that's one of the main attributes of this thing. Any movement power that you want, the space gem allows you to do that. Space is yours. To bend, fold, manipulate, do whatever you want. It's yours. So he's been teleporting places. Anyway, he uses the time gem to stop him. All he needs to do is get this guy to stop, because with the time gem, he can keep him in the state of motion that he's in. So if he's running at top speed, he can, freeze him in top speed, especially with the power gem to back him up, right? But he needs to wait for him to actually stop, and that's what the runner does. He stops to listen to him. Instead of just running around and beating him up and taking the gems and be like, psh, he just had to know what's going on. And that's a shame. With Thanos, that's a really, really big mistake. So he stops, he listens to him, Thanos tells him all this stuff, and then Thanos is like, yeah, by the way, you're not going to move anymore. I stopped time around you. So now your gem doesn't work anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not in motion. Ha ha! So he then reverts him. He accelerates his age to like millions of years in the future. And now he's just this old golden dude, right? Then he reverts him back to birth, essentially, where he's this infant golden dude. And he goes to the Collector. And the Collector's got all these guns set up and pointed all over the place. Like, the second this guy shows up, I'm blowing him away. He uses the space gem and teleports directly onto the ship. And he's like, yeah, this stuff wasn't going to stop me, right? The Collector's like, oh, yeah. So what can I help you with? He's like, here, I want your gem. I'm going to give you this. A baby elder. Imagine that. There are none. There haven't been since the Big Bang. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, ooh, okay. I'll do it. I'm just telling you, I got the better end of this deal. That thing doesn't even work. He's like, yeah, actually, it's the reality gem. You have no idea what you could do with this thing. Also, that ability that I put on him, temporary. So he leaves. The runner, Perpetperdon is his real name, Perpetperdon. He just, boom, back to full height. He's like, what? I can't believe you were going to collect me. He starts beating the crap out of him. Oh, you got to love it. You got to love it. So he's got 5 of the 6 gems at this point. Now he goes to the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster's been watching everything. You can't sneak up. You can't really trick the Grandmaster, right? It's almost impossible to do that. Well, Thanos goes up and he's like, listen, I want your gem. And he's like, I want your gems. He's like, how about this? I'll put up my 1 gem for your 5 gems. All right, for this little contest that I've done, that I've made, that you don't know what this is, I know what it is, I've been practicing on it, and your 5 gems for my 1 gem. Dude, what exactly was Thanos supposed to get out of this? Well, he gets the gem, because he's Thanos. Because as smart and as tricky as you think you are, dude, Thanos will play you. He doesn't have to kill you. That's a mercy if he just kills you. He could systematically rock you. And here's what he does. they go inside this virtual reality laser tag game that the Grandmaster has made up. All right? And he cheats and he kills Thanos' electrical leads. So he winds up getting fried in his seat. Imagine that. He cheated. Everything was working for him and he still cheated. So it turns out it's not Thanos, it's a robot. Now, the funny thing is that Thanos, like they could both kind of see into the future with their strategies and things like that. Again, Grandmaster explained in a minute. Check it out. They could both kind of see into the future with their own little ways, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the strategy, the tactics, the most logical conclusions. Well, he looks into the future and he says the big mistake that Grandmaster is going to make is he's not going to have that freaking mind gem in his hand. All right? He's going to have it on display to make it into something grand. Because if he's just got it in his hand or on his head, it's like, oh, not a big deal. But to tempt me to put all 5 of my gems up, he's going to have it on display. Look at this. He's going to pull a Vanna White, They're like, look at this. Come on. So, yeah. If he would have had the mind gem on, he would have realized that this was a robot. So, while the Grandmaster's still stuck in there, Thanos, the real Thanos, actually destroys the leads on Grandmaster. So now he's actually fried. You'd figure he's dead, but he can't die, so he's just fried. Wow. Really messed up. So anyway, boom. Thanos now has all 6 of the gems. He is now more powerful than the Cosmic Cube, but only in this universe. Remember, the Infinity Gauntlet, there's one for each universe, all right? And each Infinity Gauntlet can only be used in its own mother universe. Can't be used in another universe. If you try it, it'll be destroyed. Ask Captain America, he'll tell you. So, just to give you an idea, the Space Gem, it says the heavens will rearrange itself to fit into the wielder's aesthetics. Interesting. The Mind Gem, it bends the wills and dreams to his aspirations. Power, it amplifies all the others. The Soul Gem, life and death, corruption, sinner and saints, and evolution. Oh, so it can kill people. It can raise the dead. It can corrupt people, and it did actually corrupt in an alternate future Adam Warlock himself. That's where the Magus comes from. So it could turn sinners into saints and vice versa, and it could advance evolution. That's probably the coolest aspect. The Time Gem, everything he can do whenever he wants. So, and did I miss? Nope, didn't miss anything. That's all 6 of them. So, Mistress Death, she's now subservient to Thanos. Thanos goes up and is like, listen, I can now give you everything that you want, just like that, but with this hand, because I keep it on my left hand. So check it out, man. Check it out, babe, all right? Instead of me being subservient to you now and being with me, now we can sit together as equals. Technically, he's a lot more powerful than her. Like, you'll see that Infinity is terrified of Thanos when we start reading the Infinity Gauntlet. Give me time for that. So, yeah, the thing is, she's not happy about that. She's not happy about it at all, and she won't actually talk to him anymore. Right? So now they have no idea he has no idea what she wants. It doesn't help that he kills one of her servants, but that's a different thing in and of itself. But since she won't talk to him, and she's literally like, okay, whatever you want. Oh, you want to sit on a throne? Here, boop, here's a throne for you. It's bigger than mine even, because, yes, since you're more powerful than me, this is, Mistress Death is like the ultimate feminist, you know what I'm saying? And she's kind of bitchy about it. It's like, listen, I am more powerful than you, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Oh, you got more power than me? Well, then I guess I'll just have to be subservient to you. Like, wow. And that's not what Thanos wants at all. He wants her to be that all-powerful being that he's always looked up to. Remember, he's got the power of a god, but she actually is a god. She's more than a god. Like Thor is a god. She's a concept that defies reality. That's what she is. And that's what he's always worshipped. So to be more powerful than this now, she's not good with it. He's not good with it. They both need to read Who Moved My Cheese. Just saying. That's my recommendation. So, that being the case, that's pretty much just the end of this. From this point on, you're going to see all sorts of problems that arise from this. You're going to see a couple more Silver Surfer comics to come up, and then you're going to wind up seeing the Infinity Gauntlet. Guys, I'm also going to probably get back to the original story, how he got the soul gems in the first place, his bout with the Cosmic Cube, his creation, all that good stuff, and a bunch of stuff in the future also. But for now, yeah, let's just stick with this. And we're going to end with the idea that just like Geeter, that's, if you remember, Nebula's bodyguard, he was crying. He shed a tear right before Silver Surfer killed him. Well, at the end of this, the last thing that you see, pretty much, is Thanos crying. He sheds a tear because Mistress Death doesn't want to be with him anymore. She will be with him, but she won't have that fire about her anymore. So, yeah, it says a lot about both of these characters, and you gotta love this amazing writing. Jim Starlin, man. Whew. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed it. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.